And Laura, you too. I know you haven't slept either, so thanks for joining me. We've been talking about this indictment throughout the day, and one of the things that you and I continue to focus on is the fact that it's sweeping. What stands out to you, and just explain the significance of these charges?
Yeah, it really sort of amounts to the deepest dive, if you will, in one particular state. Obviously, Fani Willis can only charge the crimes that happen within her jurisdiction, but she can use evidence of things that happened even beyond her borders, and that's what she did in this case, Kristen. She took things that happened with faith electors in places like Arizona and Pennsylvania to show a common scheme, to show a pattern of activity, and under the racketeering law, which is all you have to show is at least two underlying unlawful acts. It could be witness tampering. It can be computer trespass, which are crimes that she actually did charge in this case as standalone crimes, but they also serve the basis for this larger pattern of activity, this larger grandiose conspiracy, if you will. You can think about RICO or racketeering as just a fancy name for a big, grandiose conspiracy, and that's what she's alleging here, and that's what she's charged.
And Laura, how much overlap, if any, is there with Special Counsel Jack Smith's indictment, and could some of the people who are named in both be more inclined to flip against the former president?
There's significant overlap of facts, of witnesses, and there's different incentives here. In this case, you have 19 people, including the former president, so 18 people not named Trump, some of whom are not household names, some of who might have different incentives when they're facing 5 to 20 years potentially in prison on that racketeering charge. Now, does that mean that they're absolutely going to go to prison? No. But are you willing to gamble on that if you're a lower-level election worker in Georgia who sort of comes upon this scheme and may not have been involved in every aspect of it, but you're still wrapped up in it because of the way RICO works? You're kind of held accountable for all the actions of everybody else. That provides different levels of incentives to potentially cooperate. And based off of our reading of the indictment, it might be the case that Fani Willis already has some cooperators and are hoping for some more.
Fascinating. One of the other things that really stands out about this indictment, and you touched on it, it mentions actions in other states, Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Mexico as well. What's the significance of that? And Laura, does it run the risk of being too broad? Could there be too much in this indictment?
Well, it's interesting. So it's sort of a double-edged sword. Part of the way you charge this case is, again, using the Georgia racketeering statute, you're allowed to sort of bring in the color of what happened, the larger pattern, to show sort of the common scheme. Even if she's not charging things that had happened in Arizona, she's allowed to bring that in. But at the same time, that provides perfect fodder for the Trump legal defense team to say, aha, see, she's going way beyond her mandate here. And you can be sure that one of the first things they're going to do, Kristen, is to try to run into federal court to say Fani Willis should not have brought this case. It was about things that he did while in office, and so therefore a federal case should be made here, not in state court in Georgia.
And of course, this is all happening against the backdrop of the 2020 presidential campaign, and Fani Willis signaling that she wants a fairly quick timeline, potentially to bring this case in the next 6 months. Is that realistic? Do you expect to see that happen?
You can understand why, sort of in her first press conference, in the heat of the moment, after a very long day of everyone waiting to see what was going to happen, she might have had an aggressive posture last night and saying, I'm going to take this case in 6 months with 19 defendants. That's not going to happen. That's just not possible. It's too many defendants. There's too many different complexities here. This is not a sort of an open and shut, easy case. It's complex, and it's complex for a reason. And she has a lot of different avenues and paths to potential conviction, but it's not going to be straightforward. And I think that was sort of more of an aspirational hope as opposed to a realistic prediction of 6 months.
And Laura, just big picture, obviously we go back to the fact that this is one of 4 indictments now. Does the judge factor in that there were 3 other indictments that were named before this one? Does that matter at all in terms of which indictment goes first?
So the judge isn't bound by the fact that this is now the 4th in terms of the sequence, but there is, again, the level of complexity here and just the realistic aspect of the fact that at least the hush money case in New York has a trial date. The classified documents case has a trial date, although we'll see whether that one sticks too. And then soon we may find out, even next week, whether the case also about election interference, I know it's a lot to keep track of, but the federal case about election interference, that one's going to have a trial date set. set even next week. And so given that those might already be on the calendar, of course, I think the judge is, going to take that into account. But there's nothing binding them to say just because she went last, that means the trial has to go last. I think the complexity is what's going to guide the court on this issue.
Well, we always appreciate your great legal analysis, and we want to say congratulations on being named Weekend Today co-host with Peter Alexander. We are so excited for you, Laura. We can't wait to watch.
Thank you to you, as always, for all of your support, Kristen. As always, thank you.
Always. Well, you're tremendous, and we're excited about it.
Thank you.
See you soon, Laura. Thanks.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.